Hello and welcome to a little or a big conversation. We'll let you decide on that. So we've got Martyn from the Professional Athlete Consultancy, and
Yeah, James here from the Professional Athlete Consultancy as well. I
excellent.
personally think this is one of the biggest conversations, particularly at the start of a consulting business journey.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what we're going to be talking about right now. I think if we look at the conversations we've had in the last 7 to 14 days, we help retired professional athletes move into entrepreneurship and specifically around coaching and consulting to build a really profitable business. And the conversations we're having is many ex-athletes are really looking for a system. They're looking for a process to go out and actually make some big moves and really take those first few steps, whether that's the actual move to start the business or they've already started, but it's maybe not going the way they want. And, what we're talking about here is a process where, there's some clarity around what they're talking about, the content they want to create, the offers and how they want to help people. And just as importantly, how do you get your business where, every single day you're making about $1,000 to $2,000, £1,000 to £2,000, depending where you are in the world. And, that's then creating the flow, the momentum, and the business that you really want. Because I think people, they want that end result, but they're here and there's a gap in the middle. And that's what we want to talk about today. So James, where do you think is the biggest gap from, relevant conversations we've had in the last 7 to 14 days? Where's that gap for you happening?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess for context, we're talking really about those who have just started their business or about to start the business,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a block for me that when we're having these conversations, we're trying to dig into, okay, what do you want next for your business, and how can we help?
Mm,
And so often it's about what I would call avoidance or maybe even procrastination,
yeah.
where you've got the business owner who is looking to get those results, but they're not necessarily doing the right things that will get them there quickly.
Mm,
So would
yeah.
you agree with that, Marley?
Absolutely. I think it's so key because, again, with anything, and you'll get this from being an athlete yourself, if you're watching this, like the level you got to wasn't the level you started at. Like you had talent, you had the skills in the background, but it's like there's always this progression. And I think that many are looking at, we talk about £1 million a year businesses, okay, $1 million a year, whichever works for you. And to get to that level, it's the same as what you did within your career. It's like there's going to be some level of sacrifice. There's going to be some level of discomfort because you've got to do things that maybe at one point you didn't know how to do. But what we're seeing is like there's two phases. It's like those that want to start this, they're seeing other people do it. They may be hearing about James and myself getting these amazing results, and they want to start but procrastinate on making the decision to start. Okay. That doesn't bode well for ever starting that business. And then the second thing is when they have started, isn't it? It's kind of like they have started, but what they're doing is not a proven process to get your business to 1 to 2,000 a day. Like it's so far from it. And that's where they procrastinate as well, isn't it, James?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think really that it's just about being like honest with yourself and
Mm,
recognizing where your gaps are.
yeah.
And you mentioned the word discomfort, and I think that's key. It's when you're when you're not getting results, it's because you're not doing something that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Now, you either know what that is and you're avoiding learning about how to improve it, or
Yeah.
you don't know what that is and you're not really open to feedback on trying to find that out.
Yeah.
So that's where we're talking about that avoidance, really, of just you know being honest with yourself and being
Yeah.
willing to get into a place of discomfort.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people aren't willing to get into that place of discomfort because with discomfort often comes failure, but you're
Mm,
not going to progress at anything unless you go through that barrier and
yeah.
get out of your comfort zone, learn the new skills, And it's at that point that you'll start to see the progress.
Yeah.
Now, learning the new skills is obviously something that there's a learning curve in that, and you're not going to get those results immediately. But the more you throw yourself into it, the more you're honest with yourself, the quicker you'll get through that learning curve and the quicker the results will follow.
Yeah. Very relevant from James there. Like, I'd even argue like that the results are immediate once you decide. Like, there's, you're in a place where I think the procrastination is exactly what James is saying. It's like the results aren't going to be quick there. But what we've seen from clients is like they go, okay, I'm all in. I'm going in. And when you make that decision, you become open to feedback, you become open to new challenges, you become open to new things. And I think, the way we overcome this with clients is we have a one-to-one intensive called the VIP Business Builder. And literally, this is the framework for everything you ever need to take your business from, effectively 0 to 7 figures. At least 0 to multi-six is the most likely scenario at the beginning in that first kind of 1 year. And I'm not saying you can't do the million in the first year. We've seen it done. But, 0 to multi-six figures from your coaching consulting business, like in our intensive, we package that specifically. So not only have you got the frameworks, so you've got the framework of how to start the business, the framework of how to market the business, the framework of how you put your offer together, the framework of how you sell, okay? Because that's what we're doing here. We've got all that in one day, okay? So once you have that, I think people procrastinate because they don't have a clear plan and they don't have a clear idea of what to do. And that's why we've created this, isn't it, James? It's to take away that guessing game.
Yeah, and there's so many elements of starting a business, and that's why we're packaging this all together. And there's often this like the fear of, well, I need to learn whatever it is, whether it's marketing or sales, because I haven't had much experience in that. And that fear comes from the idea that I can't possibly learn how to do marketing in a short space of time. I need to become an expert at it. I need to be perfect at it. And the reality is you can learn to market very quickly. If you're confident and you know yourself, then and you're coaching on your own expertise, it's very easy to start communicating that in a way that is marketing it, and you can do that very quickly. And your point there around making the decision and the results can come very quickly. A case in point, this morning I was chatting to a client, which is actually the reason I brought this conversation up with you, Martyn. Yeah. And this client actually did know that they were avoiding some of these issues. Yeah. But they were still not willing to make the decision of, I need to change. And we had the conversation this morning. We recognized where the gaps were. They made the decision, and instantly they've changed their style of marketing and their communication from this morning. And they're getting messages coming through.
That's it, mate. And, communication is key. Like there's going to be massive learning growth within starting your business, within growing it to $1 million plus. And again, this is why we help with it, because there's such a need for it. I've never met anybody in person or online who doesn't want, what that business builder creates, because once again, we want to help you take the guessing game out of this. We want to give you the platform to really get your message out there we call it the next success. It's like, we want your career to be a platform for an even bigger success, not the end of the line for you. So I think that's really key here. So again, if you're in a place right now, maybe you're starting, maybe you've started, and you want help and you want the guidance and you want the blueprint to making that happen. And, it's a very specific blueprint. It's like, we want you to be financially free. We want you to be working with great clients. We want you to be getting your message out there. We want low overheads and low costs. And most importantly, like genuinely pushing a business forward that you absolutely love. If that's what you're looking for and that's what you're feeling inclined to ask for, then absolutely feel free to send either James or myself a message. I think obviously this is going onto your LinkedIn page, James. So probably send James a message and ask any questions you've got. But I think, the moral of this video is to really look at where you're either procrastinating, avoiding, and looking for an easy way out, when yes, there's an easy way out, but most likely it's going to be get the help you need and make some big leaps forward. Big leaps are where your everything changes for you. And I think that's the key. It's like avoiding doing things is going to be how you stay in the same place, and you'll keep repeating the same cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see the clients who, before they've come to us as well, who try and make those small leaps and struggle away for far too long,
many years,
and then they start working with us. They get the blueprint, they get the model, they get the teaching and the learning, and they understand how to really just advance that in one big step.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you choose that and get the results immediately over I can do this over a year, I can do this over 2 years, and hopefully get there. Struggle your way, maybe you lose the motivation to actually even progress at that point. Just take the big steps, and the business builder is the perfect.
Again, like, let's look at it. You got to where you got to because you made big moves. So like, make the big moves. Look at the procrastination, and I think decide today. We don't need to decide next week. It's like, decide today that you're either happy doing that, and it's like, you know what, this is for me. I'm happy at going slow at the minute. That's cool. There's no judgment around that, and each to their own. But I know our clients are the ones who go, you know what, today's the day. I need to step this up. And if that's you, feel free to send us a message, and we will absolutely either point you in the right direction, or we can set up a call to have a conversation of what that looks like.
Yeah, there's certainly no harm in having that conversation. We'll absolutely be able to help in some way, and we'll find out if we're a fit very quickly.
Lovely. All right. Well, James, always a pleasure jumping on Zoom with you. And I'd love to hear anyone's takeaways. If this is going on for you right now, let us know. If this has been helpful for you, again, go ahead and comment, like, share, do your thing. Appreciate any feedback at all.
Perfect. Thanks for watching. Cheers, Martyn.